Who is your daddy?
I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
All right, guys. The next thing we're gonna do is just our own personal picks. Just take a breath, shake it out for a second before we start arguing again. What were some of your best performances this year? This could be motion capture, it could be voiceovers, a combination of the two. And I guess you could, if you needed to, factor in writing, but for the most part, this is meant to be the performances of the actual voice actors or motion captured actors themselves. So what were some of your favorites from this year? We'll start with our two new guests this time, Jeff and then Kyle. But what were some of your favorite performances in video games?
Hey, all right. That's super tough, man. I love. Is her name Parvati in Outer Worlds?
Yes.
Yeah, she is great.
She's great. She's amazing. Ashley Birch, right? Is that who it was?
Yep.
Yeah, she's incredible in that. And I mean, all around, I feel like even like the peons that you talk to in shops, I feel like they voice cast the crap out of that game.
I agree.
I added a couple that are basically like movie games where it's just actual people, real people talking to each other or into a camera. Like Telling Lies and Erica are both games that are basically just real actors talking to the camera or in a movie or whatever. And
like
you
actually
click.
good actors too. Like Telling Lies has people.
Telling Lies has legit stars in it. Yeah.
Oh.
It has like Logan Marshall Green, discount Tom Hardy. He's in it.
Discount Tom Hardy. That's awesome.
God, who else is in it? I can't even remember now. It's gonna
There's
be
a
crazy.
few because I was watching stuff on it recently.
The girl from *Halt and Catch Fire's in it. Yeah, there's a lot of names. Like when you see it, you're like, oh,
You
I know
recognize
what
the
they
faces,
are.
right?
Yeah. Erica doesn't really have anybody major in it, but it's just it's like
still
a short
well-performed.
2-hour thing. Yeah, it's absolutely. Yeah, the acting's pretty stellar in that.
Did anybody play that horror game that came out in August by the guys who?
So the Dark Pictures Man of Medan or Medan. I was going to ask if anyone played it.
I played a little bit of it, and it's not even that long of a game. It's just I had so much other stuff I was juggling at the time. So
Did the
I watched
performances
other
jump
people
out?
beat it. I don't know if that counts.
Did performances jump out at you for those?
I didn't even play it long enough
They're just pretty okay to me. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Even like Iceman, like the actual actor from.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Iceman, yeah.
He like even I was just like, ooh, it feels like you're reading a script.
Quantum
right now.
Break
I don't
guy,
know.
right?
Yeah,
No, as
Quantum
soon as
Break
you
guy.
said that,
Break
I know
guy.
who you mean now, but my mind went right to young Val Kilmer in Top Gun when you said that.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
wanted.
actually who I mean, Tim.
I
So-
started fake chewing gum.
He's in this game. He's the killer. Yeah.
Derek and his gum chewing. Dan Phillips, what about you? What were some of your favorite performances this year, or at least ones you want to call out? You don't have to pick like a top three. Just what were some of the ones
Sure.
that stood out?
One of my favorite performances was Captain Price in Call of Duty.
Yeah, man.
That guy that did him, he was just an awesome character. The guy was cool.
So good.
Really well performed.
The
Other
original
ones I
one
would,
too, right? From the originals.
I don't know that he was the
Modern Warfare.
original Captain Price.
I could have sworn it was.
If it's not him, then they kind of mapped the same face over, but it looked like him.
Yeah, no, real good though. I really enjoyed that. Thought that was a great performance. Gotta say, Gears 5. I thought Kate Diaz and Marcus Phoenix. I thought they were really good in that game.
Agreed.
Those are good performances.
That's another famous somebody that you see a lot in games, right?
Yeah.
Laura Bailey,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Or Laura Bailey, yeah.
Laura Bailey,
No, I thought
yeah.
she did great. I really thought the guy that did Marcus and everything for his involvement in the story, I thought he did really good, especially at the ending. So yeah, those are some of my favorite.
Yeah.
And I would say, Outer Worlds, Pavarti, that character is just great. I love her.
It's interesting you brought up. It's interesting you brought up Gears 5. I think they had some great performances too. The guy who does is it JD? Is that his name?
Yeah.
He was
The guy who does his voice. He was the guy who was recast in Spartacus when the lead died from cancer. Do you guys remember any of this stuff?
I remember
all
that,
of this.
dude.
I
That was
followed this
so
very
sad.
closely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this guy died. The lead died from cancer. It was really sad, but the guy they recast did a pretty good job. He now does a lot of voice acting, including he did JD. But he was also, I'm not going to say the name of the character, but he is a major. I guess you could call him like midway or end of the second act. It's more than midway. End of the second act boss in Star Wars.
Yes. Yeah.
He's
I didn't
know who you're
realize
talking
that.
about.
a
Yeah.
very difficult boss battle. Anyway, that's the same guy.
On,
And
I know the boss you're talking about. I
Would it
didn't know.
may
it was
be
him,
on
though.
the Night Sister planet? Is that what you're
Yes.
talking about?
Yeah,
Oh
Dathomir,
my God, that's him. That's awesome.
That's the same voice. So I
That's
recognized
cool. I
the
didn't know
voice
that.
during that battle. I was like, I know this voice, so I had to look it up, of course. And I was like, oh my word, that's the Spartacus dude who did JD's voice. So anyway,
My stars.
my
My
word.
stars.
My word.
So anyway, I do think the Gears 5 performances were quite good. And since I mentioned Star
Agreed.
Wars, I'll bring that up. I think the Star Wars performances were pretty good. But for me, the overall best performances I thought came from the Call of Duty campaign. I was really blown away by what they did there.
Still gotta play that game.
I thought they were so good. I
Sale
thought
right
the
now, and if y'all sell this to me, I'll buy it after we get
So
off.
the Captain Price is really the star here, but you also get to control a couple characters that are really well performed. There's a young sergeant guy from the UK. I forget his name off the top of my head. And then there's the American guy who goes by, I want to say he goes by Alex, but you don't really know his real backstory, his real name.
Yep.
He's got like this cool badass mustache thing going on. Anyway, there's some really cool characters. They're all well performed, but Price and then the main girl who's kind of leading this
Resistance group.
the resistant group, she's amazing. Whoever that actress is great too. So I just think the overall performances from the Call of Duty campaign were unbelievable, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. So those are my
Kyle,
favorite.
As someone who has like talked garbage about Call of Duty for years, and I bought this game, the story is very good.
Okay,
It's
and
like
that's all I
visually,
care
probably
about.
the best.
I
visually,
just want the campaign to be good. I like
Yeah.
Spec
It is,
Ops
man.
mode, you know,
It's
like,
great.
It's cool.
Campaign
All right.
is probably the best. It's the
It's
best
worth
it's
buying.
ever been, I think.
dude, Redbox is having a sale. Go to Redbox, go snag
great.
a copy.
It's $40 on the PSN sale right now, so
It's even cheaper at Redbox if you can find a copy though.
Oh
Yeah,
where
but you gotta find
where
it.
the,
All
where
right,
the heck
so,
is the Redbox?
So Dorit Tigwe, what were some of your favorite performances of the year in video games?
This is hands down the easiest one. William Boozer Gray from Days Gone. What an outstanding performance.
Wow.
That guy is amazing.
Wow, I was not.
So much passion.
Freakers.
and Deacon,
Dude, that guy was like everyone I hated in high school. That's who he was.
and Deacon St. John from
Deacon
Days
St.
Gone.
John.
St. John out. St. John out. Shut up, St. John.
So
All right.
this is real, not sarcasm, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, actually, I would say definitely Link from Zelda's Link Awakening.
Jesus.
This
All
is
right,
why these shows
moving
take so
on.
long. This is
Taking a
why.
long walk on this one, huh?
Cease this right now.
Oh, by the way, one that I forgot to give a shout out to, even though the facial animations do struggle a bit in this game, they're not horrible, they're not great. A Plague Tale Innocence, I think, is really well voice acted.
Yes.
I was waiting
I
for someone
agree.
to say that.
And I do think that the voice acting in that is fantastic, especially from the two key brother sister characters. But everyone else around them too is really great. So
Agreed.
loved that work. Whoever directed those little
really?
kid actors did a great job. The kid especially. So
Deacon
It's always
St.
tough to do, yeah.
I mean, unless it's some incredibly skilled female actor. I know a lot of times female actors can train their voices to sound like all kinds of different young kids. I know that's a thing, but this sounds to me like a legitimate little kid. I can't really tell though, so I'm not sure. Anyway, I digress. Daniel, Freitas, or Derek, any performances you want to call out before we
I mean,
move
if
on?
Derek wants to give a real answer, I'll wait.
I've got a couple too. Well,
I would say it was already said. That's why I made jokes. Gears
Oh, okay.
5 absolutely had phenomenal performances. And then I was like everybody else. I like Pavardi or whatever from Outer Worlds.
Pervert.
She's cute.
Yeah.
Pavardi.
Perverty. Yeah.
Freitas and then Kyle. So Freitas and then Kyle.
Okay. So Pavardi definitely is one of my favorite companion characters, or like someone, you know, as far as RPG and having this generation of game consoles. Like her character is fantastic. Ashley Birch did a fantastic job. Like just the emotions that she goes through, like when she's like starting to kind of understand her feelings, when she has the crush on that captain of the ship. I can't remember her name.
Yep.
And like she's going through
Chun-Li.
those emotions, and she's doing like the letters back and forth, and
Yeah.
just that whole thing there, and just like how real it felt. I was like, oh, this is very interesting. Like,
Even those little moments where like she wants to go get a drink, but she doesn't really
yeah.
drink.
And like she can either not drink, or if she does, like then obviously, you know, a little bit of liquid courage, or she's being more truthful, or, you know, yeah, it just was very good. But no one said Death Stranding. I mean, come on.
I think Kyle was about to probably.
I haven't played it.
That game.
I didn't play it, but it looks like Mads Mikkelsen had a great performance. I mean, he's a great actor. I don't
Yeah,
know how he
that
would.
entire game is
Yeah,
nothing
I
but
mean,
performances,
That game
right?
is literally performances.
Yeah.
It's low-hanging fruit to mention that game for sure.
Yeah, like the performances are fantastic, and obviously everyone has their opinions about whether it's sort of the script of like the characters are weird, not so much that they're being stiff, because it's just a weird universe because Kojima's weird and he makes weird, interesting things.
How about those baby actors though? They were really good.
Yeah, the baby, dude,
Fantastic. They nailed
BB is
it.
amazing.
The babies floated really well. Yeah.
The
baby?
thumbs up, all the thumbs ups he's given. I mean,
All
come
the
on.
thumbs up, yeah.
Yeah, but Death Stranding, I would say my favorite, like overall, like multiple characters in the game, like best performances.
Yeah.
Kyle, what about you?
Death Stranding as well for sure, 100%. Just to move on from that though, Judgment's really good. This studio took a crack at like dubbing for the first time since Yakuza 1.
Okay.
Really good,
They've never done it, and it's fantastic actually. They
And
hire
does
a lot of really good
the
people.
facial animations match up with the English version of the text?
I thought so.
Enough.
I don't
I
remember
thought so
anything
enough.
feeling
Yeah, I
off.
thought so enough. But there's always going to be some sort of like weird
Sure. Yeah.
kind of like disconnect there. But I think it does really, really well. I actually really preferred it. I play all the Yakuza games and I watch them all in Japanese and subtitles. Being able to just like sit back and like listen to it and watch what's actually going on in the scenes for a slow reader like myself, very, very well. It worked really well for me, and it paid off that they actually like thought about who they're gonna have acting all the parts. This is a soap opera game, so it makes sense to like really work on who's the
I
voice.
recognize like the main character. Like I've heard him in. I want to say it was like a Battlefield campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But he's really good.
He is good, yeah. I think my number one, if we're not droning on about Death Stranding, though, it's got to be Control. I think Control's
Yeah, I
got
was
a lot
about
of.
to say that.
Oh yeah, no one
awesome,
said Control
amazing.
yet.
Yeah.
I thought about
I
it,
think
but
that game has a lot of really good performances. I think. I'm sorry, who's the doctor? Who's like actually live action?
Oh yeah.
That character is so hilarious.
Dude,
He's so
the final few videos of him
Yeah.
actually get
Well,
Doing
I
the
mean, it's like there's a lot of episodes of him being like, "Wow, I really found this out," and others is like, "Wow, I really found this out," and it's not okay.
I want to just say
There's
two
a
words.
lot of range.
Music
but-
video.
Yeah, the music video. Wow.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Control's one of my favorite games of the year, and I think that the performances in this are top notch. So it's definitely worth a call out.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's time to move on to a category that we can actually argue about a little more, as opposed to just kind of vaguely agreeing with each other like a bunch of sissies. So we're actually, I'm gonna. This is very dangerous, but assuming you can edit the sheet here, who's the most comfortable with editing a sheet? I need to step away for about 15 minutes to help with family stuff, but I want the conversation to continue, and I'll jump in with my thoughts. We're gonna talk about best open world and exploration in a game. Okay. So this is not saying that it's the best game that has open world. It's just saying this game's open world or elements of exploration were the best. It doesn't have to be an open world game. Obviously, if you look on the list, most of these aren't actually quote unquote open world, but they have elements of exploration to them. Or, for example, Days Gone is on here because I think it actually has a kind of interesting open world, even though I don't love the overall game. So does that make sense? We're just talking about the open world piece. So if someone wants to help take control of this, and as folks kind of do the same thing, go through eliminate or okay. So Derek's going to either eliminate or save games based on opinions. And I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. I think Days Gone deserves to be at least in the top 10 before I step away. I do think that one.
I like it too.
But all right, I'm going to step away for a bit. Derek, take over. I will be back in a bit.
All
You
right,
want to
so
read
let's.
off the whole list?
Yeah, go ahead and read.
All right, so obviously the number one option, which is the first one, Anthem. Right? We can all agree. All right.
Yeah,
Of course.
amazing.
Number one
Episode
at all
over?
somehow.
I still fly around in this game today.
I know you do. Astral Chain, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Borderlands 3, Code Vein, Control, Crackdown 3, Days Gone, which Derek already highlighted or bolded, Death Stranding, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Gears 5, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Judgment, Kingdom Hearts 3, Luigi's Mansion 3, Metro Exodus, Outer Wilds, which obviously we have a couple fans of those, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Rage 2, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Shenmue 3, Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order, Division 2, Link's Awakening, The Outer Worlds, Void Bastards, I don't even know what that one is, American Fugitive, Disco Elysium, Observation, and Blair Witch.
Okay.
I didn't even know that was open world.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, it's exploration.
Well, yeah,
It
yeah.
has
Sure,
exploration.
A lot of these fall into exploration.
Yeah,
Sure.
half of them at least.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
All right,
So
so
do we
why don't we
wanna-
stick with the same routine, and
Yeah.
that is let's
Kill
start
your
off
babies?
by
Kill
let's
babies,
start off
yeah.
by deleting one. So you just throw out there what you don't want, just one of them, and then if we all agree, we'll delete it. If not, we'll fight. But let's start off with let's do the guests first again. Let's go with Dan Phillips. Started off.
So one that I want to kill.
One.
I would think, for as much as I liked what they tried to do with the exploration and opening it up, I just don't think it gave you a little bit of reason to look in the corners, but it didn't do too much, I don't think, for the game. I'd say Gears 5. It just, it's cool to be able to, look around these open worlds. I like driving the skiff. I just don't think it had great exploration or open world.
I mean, how does everybody else feel? Like, I'm okay with it staying on the list. Is it gonna be in the top 10?
Didn't play.
I don't think it'll be on the top.
Yeah. I was gonna say, is there like things to explore? Or...
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it has little open hub
chapters.
worlds and everything,
Yeah.
and there are certain side missions. So if you do these side missions, you'll get an upgrade, and you don't have to just mainline the story. But
wouldn't
there's
say
only a
it was
couple instances of it. It's just not very deep or
I thought
big.
chapter 2 was fun to explore, and maybe it was just because it was like, oh my god, this is the first time I've ever done this in a Gears of
Yeah.
War.
Yep.
But chapter 3, I was like, oh my gosh, like, can we just get through this crap?
I just thought it was neat because that series hasn't typically had any type of exploration.
I'm
like
fine
that before.
getting rid of it.
It just wasn't top 10 this year.
Okay.
All right, so is everybody cool with me deleting it?
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right.
big time.
There goes number 1. All right.
Big
time.
boy gone already.
All right, so Jeff, let's go with you.
Why is Crackdown 3 in here? I'm confused.
Thank you.
Dude, Tim
Yeah.
is gonna be furious.
Yeah,
Such
get
a
it
hor-
out of here before you
Horrible open world. Horrible.
All
He
right,
is going to be furious.
we're not even going to talk about that one for a long time.
Okay.
Kyle.
Rage 2, really? If you made that game a corridor shooter or a Doom-like shooter, I would love that game way more. Get it out of here. It's not a good open world
Okay,
game.
with that one going bye-bye, too.
I liked it, but whatever, it's fine. It's
No,
okay.
I like Rage
Not
2.
top
I
10
think it's
liked
a
it,
fun
but I
game.
liked
I
it.
just don't like it being it doesn't make any sense for it to be in
Yeah,
it.
I want to make sure I'm very clear. It's not going to be in my top 10 this year. As a big fan of Rage, I was hyped for Rage 2. I do like the game.
That game is a lot of fun. There's a lot of really cool
The
gameplay and shooting.
disappointment because the narrative was trash, the open world was boring, and I just wasn't that interested in it. All right, so I guess it brings me to me. Or did you do it? No, Dan, you haven't done it.
No.
Go ahead, Fred.
So I haven't played this, but I've heard like a lot about it and enough to make this decision. I'm gonna do Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Yep.
Nobody's gonna fight for that game.
Nope.
Yeah.
Although I
It's
did
just
get it really cheap on
Yeah,
PC.
compared to Wildlands, like Wildlands had a lot of good positive things. Like they added a lot of stuff, and the world, the way it was constructed, was really well done. And I've heard this one, there's just a lot of shady things going on there, and they're trying to copy a lot of things from other games, and they didn't progress the formula forward. If anything, they took a couple steps back. So.
Okay. All right, and then that brings me to me. I'm gonna go ahead and let's get rid of Anthem. Is anybody gonna fight for Anthem?
Nope.
Oh no.
It was not interesting
Janky
at all.
open world, yeah.
Yeah, bye. Okay, so then let's go ahead and let's do one more round of kill because we got a longer list here.
Yes.
All right, so again, let's do the same for Dan Phillips.
I don't know too much about it. I guess based off the last two games, I don't know if this one was a ton better, but Shenmue 3, I don't see that making the top 10.
Not something I care about.
Me neither.
Nope.
All right, so we're losing.
Feels like if you're a fan of the series, then you'd defend it or love that game. But if you're not,
If you care about Shenmue 3.
What? No, I didn't play that. I've never played a Shenmue.
Okay, so we're gonna get rid of Shenmue 3.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
Shenmue fans. I know it's like super niche and people love it, but
Jeff, you got another one for us.
La 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 la. How is Astral Chains open world? I mean, I played it, but I don't remember the open world being something that I loved about it.
Astral Chains is. I mean, I love Platinum games, and this may be the most disappointing game of the year for me. So.
Ouch.
Yeah, and I can't even tell you what the disconnect was with this, but it's not really open world. It's more like you load into a mission, and it's kind of open-ish.
Is it
Yeah.
like fun to explore?
That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
Is it fun to explore? No, that's actually the parts I hate about the game.
It kinda rushes you.
I actually wish this game were linear. I wish it just dropped you in. I wish it were like Bayonetta, where it just dropped you into a world and you're just murdering things until like you hit like your ranking, end of mission ranking. But it's not like that.
Devil May Cry 5 too.
Yeah, like Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Like exactly.
Dude.
Like
Well,
that.
so I'm not
I
afraid of
wish
that.
a little bit of exploration in Devil May Cry 5, but there's a point to it. Like you always get something you need.
Yeah.
All right, so Astral Chains, bye. Okay. All right, next, Kyle. Another one that you want to kill.
To kill for open world.
Or exploration.
Or exploration. American Fugitive. I mean, that game's just kind of stupid.
Really? You didn't like it?
Yeah, I mean, I played it for like an hour, maybe 2 hours, and I was just like, I could literally play any other game that's better than this. Which is many. There are many that came out this year that are better than it. So
I don't think anybody's gonna fight for that one.
I really
yeah.
liked it, but it's not top 10.
I think there's 10
added it
better
because
games
I saw
too.
a bunch of questionable choices in there, and I was just like, okay, well then I'm gonna add the ones that I like.
All right, Fred.
You're doing it right, Jeff.
Yes.
I need another.
You know what? I'm just gonna pull the trigger on this one now because it is one of the more weaker aspects of the game. Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Is anybody gonna fight for that? I'm not.
Not an open world or exploration. No.
Yeah, there's literally only one area that is technically open world, and it's not like there's nothing complex about it. You know.
Like any Pokemon game, there's one way you're supposed to go, and that's the way you go.
Yeah. So.
All right, for me, I don't know. Now we're getting a little Void Bastards. Does anybody care about that?
I don't know what that is.
Derek's just like, I don't know what that is. Let me pick
I
it
think
up.
only Jeff cared about it.
Yeah, me and Tim played it. I really love the game.
But do you care about the open world and exploration of it?
I like the exploring of it, but it's not. Again, when we're talking about like top 10, I mean, there's so many other games in here that are like more worthy.
All right, so
I played it. I liked it. I won't fight for it though.
Okay, so now we're gonna switch it up. The list is getting a little bit smaller, so let's go ahead and do. Pick one that you want to fight for.
Okay.
That you want to keep. Do the same order, Dan Phillips.
I'll just start with Star Wars. The Metroidvania, Metroid Prime like exploration. I really liked the levels and digging into it. So it was one of my favorite worlds to explore this year.
Big time.
Yeah. Some of the best level designs, I think.
Yeah,
I
just
think so too.
excellent level design. Excellent.
That's the part I hate about the game.
Of course it is.
Jeez, wow, yeah.
I thought, yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and bold it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Oh, that's me. Actually, did you want to kill one too, or pick one?
Let's just do one where you want to keep it.
So
I don't want to give one person too much power right away.
because I don't want to see it go anywhere. Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you would have had me fight.
Outer Wilds or Outer Worlds?
Outer Worlds.
I know it's gonna get eliminated. I'm not an idiot, but exploration is literally the game, so I don't know. I'm not comfortable eliminating it yet.
Oh, for Outer Wilds, yeah, I'm with you on that. I could argue that.
All right, so Kyle, what's the game you want to keep for just open world or exploration?
Death Stranding. It's literally an exploration game.
Yeah.
Like literally. Yep. That's literally what it is.
But is it really the best? No, we're not gonna fight on that one. All right, I'll fight you later.
Yeah.
All right,
There's no fighting. I'm just right about it. Yeah.
Fredis.
Yeah.
Give me one that you want to keep. He already took yours. It was Death Stranding. Move to another one.
I was actually gonna go Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yes, that's a good
That
one.
looks like it'd be a lot of fun to explore. I just picked it up for my daughter for
It's
Christmas.
literally the point. Yeah.
Gratifying
I
exploration.
haven't played it yet, but it looks like
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
Dude, I gotta tell you guys, my kitten just took a crap and it smells really bad. It's really strong.
I'm really glad we get to share in this
I
experience.
just wanted to make sure
Can
you
you
guys.
describe the shape of it for me?
Yeah.
The color. We were talking about green earlier.
Or at least like text us the shape that it's in.
This is why
Yeah,
cats are
emoji,
gross. They shit in the house. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
You
but
know
at
what?
least it's in a box.
I'm gonna give some love to Sekiro. I thought
Thank you.
the
Yeah.
world
Yeah,
was
that's a
super
totally
awesome.
exploration game.
Yep. No, I would totally fight for that right with Jedi. I thought that was the best part of the game for me. It was exploring in that. It's something that Bloodborne and Dark Souls had never done with the verticality, the grapple hook.
Yeah.
It was really cool looking to see what you could find there.
If only they could let me level up the way I want to.
I know. That's the only thing I wanted to.
I wish it was an
I got
easy
frustrated.
mode. No,
You know what? I would have fought you before the game came out. Give me an easy mode. No, I'm just kidding.
no.
I just
Alright,
want to play it
so-
like Dark Souls. I just want to just max my strength out and just beat the crap out of everybody, but you
Yeah,
can't.
that sounds fun.
All right, so right now we've got 6. Nobody's fighting on these 6. Let's go ahead and do the same thing again. Pick one that you want to keep. We only have 4 though, so we're gonna have to start fighting. Go ahead, Dan. Phil.
For one that I would want to keep, I would probably have to go. Geez, this is hard. I really like the Division 2. I didn't think the map was always friendly, but I really did like exploring in it. And this one, apart from the first game, it just had much better map design, a lot of more underground dungeon areas, and I just felt like there was a lot of stuff you could get into and go, and it was definitely worth looking around that world, looking for those upgrades.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not completely on board with that as everybody else, though. Do you see the Division 2 as a top 10 open world explorer?
I think
see
it's
what he's
too
saying,
early
yeah.
to determine. Yeah, I think we should leave it on there, but just remember that we're all in contention about it, I suppose.
I'll bold it for now.
Yeah, bold it
And
for
I'm
now.
okay if it's on
We'll
the bottom
revisit
of the
it,
list, or if it
Yeah.
falls off, that's just probably the one I would lean on.
Okay, that's fine. So nobody's like fighting it, but we're also not
Yeah.
sold on it. So I'm actually gonna move it
TBA.
down. Yeah, I'm gonna move it down. Okay, so Jeff.
I'm gonna nominate Control. I feel like the exploring in that game is top notch.
It's very Metroidvania.
Yeah.
That and
It's
also
as
when you
gratifying as like Luigi's or Star Wars
when
Jedi.
you return back to a place as well, like it's completely different because the whole
Yeah.
idea of the lore of the building is that it's totally shifting and changing. So it's like it actually behooves you to go back and check out stuff because it's always different.
Behooves.
Yeah.
Behooves. It's a $10 word, guys. You're welcome.
Hooves.
All right. I'm on board with that. Kyle.
Control was mine. If I had to choose another, I'd say Judgment. That game, you could.
I love that open world. Yeah.
You could miss half the missions in this entire game if you didn't really kind of go to every icon or explore every little nook and
You
cranny.
can go to every building. It feels like almost.
You really can, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been using the same map since Yakuza 1 in 2005, so I mean, it better be deep, right?
Yeah.
But no, Judgment's really great. I really like the Kamurocho feels like home to me, being a longtime Yakuza fan, and there's just a lot to do in this entire map. You're never going to get tired of walking around in this game.
All right. Anybody fighting against Judgment? I have no problem with Judgment.
I'm not.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Again, just because I'm highlighting it, just so y'all know, I'm gonna probably end up doing more than 10, and then we'll fight it out. But I'm gonna let everybody get their one pick in. Daniel Freitas.
Link's Awakening.
Good choice.
Because very much like Luigi's Mansion, that's kind of like part of the backbone of that game. You're going around and you have to explore to find the new items to unlock new areas to progress the game. So it's literally what you're doing. So.
And also having to remember of how like your new items like contextually make sense to the world or other areas that you've already been to. It just I don't know. It's very cool. The entire thing is exploration, exploring your items and exploring the with those items.
I'm gonna go with Greedfall.
Ah, what a surprise!
I am so shocked.
keeps leaving this game off, he can seriously suck it. But I added it. And I'm gonna highlight it. All right, so that puts us at, I believe, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games still on this list. Are there any games that you guys, on the 10 that are left, that you guys want to keep?
One that I would like to see is maybe Bloodstained.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of
Absolutely.
the Symphony of the Night exploration, and it did just that and did it very well.
Metroidvania is at its base exploration. It's I don't know. I love Metroidvania games.
Just
and
filling out the
this is-
map and
absolutely.
figuring out where you're going, and I just think that's definitely deserving to be on this list. I'd be okay
100%.
dropping some others to keep it on.
Yeah, me as well. Especially like Greedfall.
Yep. I'd get rid of that. Get that trash out of there.
I was
Put
on your team
Bloodstained.
last time, Derek. I'm sorry.
All right. I feel y'all's hate. I just don't care.
Hey, I'm gonna play Greedfall. Maybe I'll love it. You never
It's
know.
actually really good. It's one I plan to play on more. It's a lot of fun.
It's next on my list after I finish Outer Worlds.
That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
I think I tried to finish it so close to Outer Worlds that they were so similar that I was just like, oh, I can't play. I can't play those two games at the same time. Or
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
just a little too
obviously
much.
the combat's different, and I actually think Greedfall is more fun to play. I just think the dialogue and everything of Outer Worlds is top notch.
I feel like for Greedfall to kind of defend it, like if you like the combat of Fable, this is that.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds perfect. I love
It
Fable.
is the combat
I
of
like that
Fable,
comp.
like
Okay.
to a T. And someone explained it to me, and I go, someone should have pitched that to me, pitching this game. That like
That's how I.
If
somebody
would have told me that, I would have bought it probably at launch.
No, this is. I'm pretty sure these are Derek words. I don't want to like give him any credit. So.
It's more of a realistic Fable game. It's definitely.
But if it has that combat, I love that. Does that
It is.
magic
So,
and
the way that the
melee
magic
and
works,
rain?
the way that like combat works, like,
Yep.
and I'm pretty sure this is the way that Derek got me to finally buy the game. Was like, oh, it's just Fable, but like with Mass Effect conversations. Why did no one ever say that to me?
Yeah, I would have bought it way sooner if I had known that. That sounds amazing.
All right. So I'm cool with what we have right now. Is anybody gonna fight for Blair Witch?
No, that was frustrating.
Really?
Frustrating
I put
AF.
that in there because I thought the exploring was kind of.
Well, like I liked it for an extent, but when I wandered around the same area of forest for like 40 minutes, just not noticing the tape that was sitting on a stump, I was just PO'd. I was sick of it.
No, I mean, it was supposed to be disorienting because those woods are. I mean,
I know, and that I think that's what and it was very disorientating, and I got lost in it for a while. Nope.
I also included Observation and Disco Elysium just because, Disco Elysium you can talk with anybody and like there's a lot of cool stuff to do in that game. But I totally get it not making the list. And Observation is one of those things where like at first the ship that you're in is like, where is everybody? Where is this module? Where is that one? And then you kind of get more acclimated to the map and that feels good. But otherwise, yeah, remove those two. 3 actually, remove those 3. In my opinion, even though I added them.
Hold on 1 second, because I want to So what type of? Because Observation is on the Epic Store. It's on sale. Is it something I would like? I think you got a gist of how my personality.
No.
You don't like story stuff, so.
No.
Yeah, it's narrative. It's narratively driven, and you can't skip the cutscenes.
Good, I'm out.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like it's all dialogue, no gameplay. If you do it.
All right.
Gone.
Outer Wilds.
It is all exploration.
I'm surprised it's still here, but it is all exploration.
But is it done well?
I mean, all these games are exploration or open world. Is it something as a group? Like, I don't care about Outer Wilds.
I'm not gonna fight for it.
I'm so exhausted to fight for it. I gotta save my energy.
It probably deserves to be here more than like Borderlands.
I'm not gonna fight for Borderlands. I like Borderlands.
I
but
love
I
Borderlands.
don't
It's
think
not.
because
I don't get off on exploring in that game. Like, there's nothing.
I didn't think the Borderlands had the best
No,
exploration
no,
or the map. I just
No,
the
not
level
even like
design.
I never even felt a need to. I'm like, oh, I want to go Easter egg. I never felt that. Like I'm just like I just want to go to the next thing, whatever
Yeah.
the next mission is,
That's
straight there. Like yeah, so I would take that off.
Okay, so I'm gonna
can-
skip Code Vein in a second because I'm gonna talk about it. But Dragon Quest Builders 2, does anybody want that?
I didn't play it. I won't.
I
don't
mean,
know.
I would put that.
If it's
on
got
the
no
list,
defenders, we got to cut it.
but
And
That's
by
what I'm
the way,
saying.
I'm gonna cut you.
about-
Tim.
Tim is like, no.
I had a
Tim's
glass
the only one
bottle
who's
right
gonna
now, I'd
finish.
smash
Oh,
it
there
and
he
cut
is, Tim. Are we keeping Dragon Quest Builders?
no, we can cut it. I successfully got most of the kids down and quiet-ish. Refilled my sweet tea. I'm an old man ready to go.
All
All right.
30 kids are
Got my
asleep.
sweet. Yep.
Kingdom
exactly.
I think Kingdom Hearts 3 kind of falls in the same vein as some of the other ones. Like, I never really was interested in like exploring every nook and
It's-
cranny of this world.
It's
I
fun
agree.
to
I agree.
It's fun to explore it from a visual perspective, like seeing like say the
Yes.
Pirates of the Caribbean world. Like that was super cool to run
It
around
was
and
cool.
see
It
everything.
was.
But
Yeah.
yeah, there's not like things hidden and like secrets
No,
and
not
Not
really.
the way that I wish it were. Like even like
Yeah.
1 and 2 kind of did better jobs of hiding stuff around than
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Did. But like 3 was very linear and that's okay. But I would
Yeah.
not consider it an open world exploration game.
yeah.
All right, so it's gone. Metro Exodus.
I really commend this game's open world, but I don't think it's as thorough as the other games we've already selected.
Okay. All right.
I really like the game though. It's really
All right.
good.
I think it's
So
cool.
I'm gonna say Code Vein as its biggest supporter, I would guess here, is gotta go. I will say though, I want to highlight there are some people that complain about the levels, like the level design. I actually think a lot of them are amazing, especially as you get deeper into the game. There's a cathedral that's like a maze. I'm talking level upon level, and it's actually really cool. And so all I do is explore in that game because I play it kind of like I play Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and Sekiro and all that. Is that I check every nook and cranny because everything that you find is definitely needed to survive in the game.
Which is more fun to explore, that or Greedfall?
I would put it over Greedfall. I think Greedfall has a cooler looking world, but I think Code Vein's exploration is more important.
And also it's anime, which I automatically go with that. So
All right, so I'm gonna bold
Sounds like
Code Vein, and I'll get rid of Greedfall.
I was gonna say Greedfall. It sounds like it's not built to last. Oh no, buddy.
The only one that cares about it, so. And by the way, Tim, it
okay, well
list
there you go.
did not have Greedfall on, so I had to add it.
Yeah, that's gonna be the case
Again.
for most of these. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, Outer Wilds. Are we going to just delete
No,
it?
just
or
please
should I-
delete it.
I'm really happy that it lasted this long as a defender of the game, even though it's not my top 10 myself. But yeah, goodbye.
I know the
Bye.
people that love it would say the exploration is what it's all about, but
That's what. Yeah, that's what we were saying. That's why it lasted this long.
All right,
Please.
so we've got a total of 12. We need to cut 2 before we start arranging things. So, how do we want to do this? What would you guys say are our bottom 2? I think everybody was definitely into Control. Days Gone. Death Stranding, nobody fought against that.
I mean, it should be like at the
People
top.
did fight against Division 2. I was one of them. Nobody fought against Judgment. Nobody
Is
fought
Judgment fun to actually go around in? Because wasn't
It
there
is,
some missions that
yeah.
were
It
annoying?
really is. No, I
Like,
mean
what,
I don't.
what
I
about
don't,
the stalking ones? Like
so
with the
no,
taking
okay,
pictures?
so I
love
that's
those.
the thing. Like it exactly. Like it's so subjective. Like I like the detective elements that they add to it, but like people who are super into Yakuza, that's just all about like not doing that shit or stuff.
Well, see, it's funny
Kyle,
because
don't
you say
even
crap.
bother with that.
Try anymore.
well, you say the detective stuff, and this is gonna sound funny because a lot of people hated the game. Like I loved that stuff in L.A. Noire,
Yeah, I love that.
and
yeah.
and
With, like,
Judgment
here,
doesn't seem like it has. Does Judgment have stuff like that, or
Yeah, I would say it's very
Okay.
similar to that. Yeah,
Okay.
not in terms of like looking at their face, but like in terms of like you're here in this alleyway, what's wrong with it? And then like
Okay.
you're
well, right,
looking it
that
up.
those aspects, like investigating
Yep.
a crime scene. That's what I
Absolutely.
liked about L.A. Noire. So
This game is
So,
all like this.
Here's
game
my
is
thing.
40% that. Yeah.
okay,
I think, all right. I think Code Vein's gone. Nobody's gonna fight for Code Vein, right? I'm the only one that cares. All right, bye. All right, so it
Yeah,
comes
from an
down to
anime
me
perspective.
between the Division 2 and Judgment. So I just say we vote over those. Who wants?
Well, hang on real quick. Since I wasn't here for some of this,
We don't care.
the ones that I've played that I'm not sure that they deserve to be in here for open world exploration over the Division 2, Bloodstained, I played it. Don't know that deserves to be in there for exploration at least and open world.
The Castlevania game, it's exploration.
Yeah, but it's anyway. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Yeah, but I didn't like it. All right.
That's what that meant.
Well, which is more fun to explore? I think Tim is trying to say, because I don't know if like I don't know if Bloodstained was.
What about the Division 2 though?
Yeah.
No, I think the Division 2 took their open world from the previous game, which was relatively bland. I think they improved it vastly this
They
time around.
did, but I still don't think it's great.
I had a blast exploring that world.
Yeah,
That-
I thought it was really good what you could explore on that.
All right, so that's 2 for the Division 2.
Oh, I'm on board with Division 2.
All right.
I'm honest. As much as I love Zelda and everything, I'm honestly more with Tim. Like I would question that being on this list. You know, and I know the game is about exploration. I think the open world, you know, to me it felt more linear. It very much blocks you off where you can and can't go, and it fairly does a good job directing you to your next path. I just, you know, and everything is pretty obvious of where to find. Yeah, you can go get all these toys and collectibles and stuff like that. I just didn't think it was the great, you know, exploration. I mean, I love Zelda games, but I think there are other ones that do it much better than that.
I'm fine with
wasn't my
Zelda going
fave.
bye-bye.
I think those are your two, Bloodstained versus Zelda. I haven't played Judgment, but I got the feeling it was a pretty good open world, but I could be wrong.
I mean, it's
It's a
like
great open
Yakuza, but
So
I like
I would keep Zelda above both of those, but that's just me.
Would you? You played Judgment too? I haven't played it.
I have. I would pick Judgment. I think it's between these two, so we got to do a vote. All right, who votes for Bloodstained to go? I want
go?
Bloodstained to go.
I would
Between
vote-
Judgment. I would choose that over I would choose that to go over Judgment.
What about
No,
over
Bloodstained over Zelda.
Oh, over Zelda. Oh,
So do you want Bloodstained to go, or do you want Zelda to go?
I'd keep Bloodstained over Zelda.
All right, so we got 1 for Bloodstained. I want Bloodstained to go, so I got 1 for Zelda, 1 for Bloodstained.
Zelda. I'm voting Zelda to stay.
All
Yeah,
right,
same. Zelda stay.
3,
Yeah,
2, 1.
Zelda staying.
All right, bye, Bloodstained.
Sorry, Dan.
That's all right.
Man, Dan, you and I died togetter on that one.
That's okay.
Yeah.
More like
Del-
bland stained. Ah,
Hey.
Whoa!
Get the f- out of here.
All right,
bro.
so I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I could be wrong because I missed some of this. I'm gonna guess that the Outer Worlds has got to be right in the top of the best open world exploration, right or no?
I mean,
top, yeah. Top.
Yeah,
it should have been
that
up
and Death
there with the
Stranding
top
for me are
four.
up there.
Top 3 for sure.
all right, so let's move it up to the top 3. I'm gonna put it at 1 for right now.
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm gonna make an argument for honestly Luigi's Mansion 3 being number 2.
And
I'm not even
wish,
joking.
No.
I wish
not
that
even
we
close.
might do this, but I wish that we could have these conversations after Christmas. My kids got this for me for Christmas, so I'm gonna play Luigi's Mansion 3 with them.
Spoilers.
But
Yeah.
I know. Well, my wife goes, "What would you like from them?" And I was like, "Well, I was gonna get Luigi's Mansion 3, but if they were each gonna get me something worth $10, and that's, yeah. Anyway, you get the point.
Literally, the
That's
puzzles
cute.
are based around the concept of exploration. Like you're exploring this hotel that you're trapped in. You're trying to save all your friends.
I was
like-
gonna say if it's like previous Luigi's Mansions games, some of the, like to me that's like delightful exploration. I loved exploring those.
It is,
Well, I-
yeah.
I
but
hear
these
this,
others are just more vast.
Well,
and-
exactly. I hear this has more themes. So, like, whereas, like, one's like, this is a haunted house, and this is a haunted this. This is like, this
Right.
is this
Yes.
themed room. Then this room
It's
is a
very
completely
themed,
different theme. And,
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's cool.
And that,
really
that sounds
cool.
kind of cool, yeah.
So you guys like that more than Star Wars, more than Control?
No.
I don't like it more than
No.
Death Stranding.
No. Yeah,
to
I
me,
think Death
Star
Stranding
Wars
should
was
be, like,
my-
way up in top 5.
Okay,
I
wait.
think.
yeah.
Why does Death Stranding's open world go so high? I've heard some, but I want to hear from you guys. Why is that one so high?
Well, for me, and it's a lot of things. The communal aspect of Death Stranding, where it's like you're actually seeing other people's creation bleed into your world, how those creations bleeding in actually help you explore better, make your exploration easier. The things that you put down, the things that you're building and put down to make the exploration easier. The game literally is about exploration. It's about
Right.
finding the right path.
And about walking.
Walking the right, it is, yeah, very much so. Walking the right path. If you walk that path so many times, a road forms there. Not a paved road, but like a walking path.
Oh, that's
game
kinda cool.
road.
Yeah.
But if other people walk that as well, like that road will walk in quicker. Or if you have other people's walkways bleeding into your world, like I don't know. The whole entire thing is about you exploring and you kind of seeing how other people explored, and it's just.
I
cool.
cannot
to it.
support
Lot
this
to it.
game at all because Sean Messler supports it. That's it. That's my
Hey, Derek, you and Sean see eye to eye on Star Wars, so you might want to back down your criticism of
Yeah,
that.
right.
Okay?
Yeah.
My only issue with Death Stranding and that whereas those things that you listed that's super cool and like I can't think of another game that does that, but like I don't feel like I can entertain the idea of exploring in a random direction to find something super amazing. Like for me, it's
No.
I go to one of the places where one of the stations. I get the package. I'm bringing it to another station.
Yeah.
I drop it off. I go grab a package from that station. Go to another. Like I don't.
Right.
But-
and
but
like,
all
to
the stuff
counter
that you-
that is that whenever you may be making that trip back, like something may be new there, and
Yeah.
like you're not exploring anything, but like that's new all of a sudden. Like whoa, this pavement wasn't here, or this
Right.
like
It's a
this
different
bunker wasn't
type
here,
of
this thing wasn't
exploration.
there. Yeah, it's
Like,
a different type of
I was
exploration.
talking about
It's
Death
a world
Stranding
that's
makes
constantly
getting from A to
evolving.
B
That's my
in
favorite
the
part
best
about it for
way.
sure.
Wait, hang on. Derek, what were you saying?
Okay, so what I was trying to say is Daniel Freitas is saying something different than Kyle. Kyle's talking about Death Stranding's A to B. The exploration is made easier by the community
Yes.
supporting each other and building things, and
Which is
making that
cool.
A to B trip better
Okay.
by exploring those outcomes.
Right.
Luigi's Mansion is Freitas saying, I'm going off path and I'm being rewarded for that. It's
Yeah.
two different explorations. Neither one's better than the other based off the context of the game.
Sure.
I think I don't care about either one of these games, so I'm not going to vote for either one. I just want to get a feel from you guys. Is Death Stranding 2 or is Luigi Mansion 3 a 2 to you guys right now?
Well, I don't think I was gonna put stuff like Control or Star Wars up in the mix there too, because I think those have.
Control,
Yeah,
I think needs,
I
I
think-
think Control
I'm just
maybe
talking
even
about
above
right
Death
now.
Stranding.
Oh, okay.
Control could
Okay.
probably go into number
I gotta
2.
Listen,
say,
I was
based-
just
Star Wars.
Based
Star
on
Wars
what
gotta
I've heard, it sounds like Death Stranding right now deserves to be in 2 because it does
That's what I'm
deserve
saying.
credit for being so unique and outside the box
Well,
thinking.
and again, even
so-
in that A to
Not
B
there for now.
like quest or whatever, that A to B like walk gets different every time you walk it. You know what I mean? Like you may walk it 20 times, it's different every time you walk it because of the stuff that bleeds in.
I
So,
mean,
like,
kind of the point of the game is it's all about making traversal easier as you go through the game.
Right.
Well,
Traverse-
and
kind
that
of-
kind of makes it a communal exploration experience where it's like, how are we exploring this world and
Ugh,
making it
such
easier
hippies.
together? I know, yeah,
I want
right.
to give a
like,
shout out to the
It's
zip
very
lines.
hippie.
Zip
Yeah.
line.
Zip lines
Oh,
are
yeah, yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Hey, I'm such a noob. I still don't use those. So
All right, so
Really?
Dan Phillips, I heard you starting to chime in on Controller Star Wars.
Star Wars. I
Okay.
gotta see that in the top 3. To me, I mean, I still think even what they're saying of Death Stranding, I still think it trumps all of that. The level design of that, it really catered to exploring it, going back to it, the Metroidvania aspects, and there was rewards in every corner. And when you would finally get to that path or find that hidden ledge, I mean,
Yep.
I think it
Oh,
paid
hey,
off.
my double jump
beautifully,
now
and-
gets me up here, all that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
and every world I could go back to, I could find something new in it, and it felt rewarding, and I just wanted to see every corner of that world. So,
Dan,
to
if
me,
you're looking for allies about getting Fallen Order up there in the top 3, you found one in me, bud. Because
it's just got to be the top 3. That's the
I
only
will
thing
100%
I
put
want
that
on this
up
list.
there. I
agree.
think it's one of those games where, as you were saying, every time you return to a world, you have a new ability that's going to get you someplace to a new cranny or nook that's different in that world for you. That game literally is exploration. It is a 3D Metroidvania game, and I think it's one of the best of those types of games out there. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I would put to fill out the top 5. I'd put Control up there. Honestly, that's how I feel
Me too.
about that.
Same
Yeah.
here. I feel
and-
the exact same things I just said about that Jedi correlate to
Yes,
Control.
Jedi.
Death Stranding Jedi Fallen Order of
Alright.
the Outer Worlds who control Luigi's Mansion.
Derek,
All
I
right,
think,
so here's
I
my
think you've
thing.
been deleting entire rows because we got a bunch of games missing from these other columns. Anyway,
I'm not trying to.
I'll
trying
fix
to-
it. We're
yeah,
good.
Just you take over. Shut up.
In what order do you do those things?
I just looked at our top 10 for best RPGs and I was like, how's that 4 games now? Anyway,
I've been just deleting. I don't know. Whatever.
it's fair. It's fine. So,
Okay.
is there any opposition to the Outer Worlds being the game that we're saying has the best open world / exploration of the year? Or are we saying that's too presumptuous? There's other games that do it better.
I think
Yeah,
it's number 1.
I think it's number one
I
myself.
think it's number one, hands down.
I mean, honestly, I feel like Death Stranding's number one, but I know my audience. So
Same here. Yeah. If Jeff and I could take Death Stranding all the way to the end on this
What are
one,
you saying?
we would, but we can't.
What are you saying? Saying that I just don't get Kojima? Is that what it is?
No. It's just.
I am.
yes,
yeah,
but
I'm
yes,
saying
but
that.
no.
Yeah.
I love the Outer Worlds and the exploration in it. I still think that Jedi did better as far as the exploration, and I'm not saying the worlds weren't great in Outer Worlds, but I'd like to see. I don't know. I'm fine with it being number one, but I'd like to definitely see Jedi a little closer to the top.
And I'm of the mind that the best open world game is the Outer Worlds, but the best exploration game is Star Wars Jedi. So like, who are we putting in front of what here? You know.
And if you guys are all on the Outer Worlds, I'm fine with that. I'd like
either
to see
one
that
of those being one or two, or you know what I mean.
I'd put Control above Star Wars.
Tell me why.
Because the building is morphing, and again, it's Metroidvania. Like, isn't that the point of the old Metroid games? Like, you're exploring, you're going to these different levels, unlocking new abilities to unlock new paths. Like,
talking to my heart right now.
Yeah,
I agree with
it's
that.
literally the epitome of
I
what
like
that is.
Fallen Order better. I mean, I don't think the map was the greatest, but I mean, I played that game more like I do a Dark Souls, where I'm remembering the paths and like get familiar with the world. And I don't know. I like Control a lot, and I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying on that, but I still like Star Wars better.
Well, what's cool too, the difference between those is the map on Control sucked, and the map for Star Wars is actually pretty cool. The way you can move it around, it actually like looks nice, and that's kind of what makes Control a little bit better for me exploration wise, because I'm not relying on the map, I'm relying on memory, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that area, and now I'm going back, and now that area's changed, so now I have to like remember this new area and how
it was
it's changed.
opposite for me for Star Wars. I used
really?
Star Wars and more in Control, but I totally get what you're saying.
So the thing that I would say, because they're both really good, I think Control has some really good elements of Metroidvania and that kind of stuff. The difference for me is probably just because I'm a huge fan of the overall Star Wars universe and lore and all that stuff. So to me, I found more, I'll use that word delight again, that moment where you come around a corner and go, oh, that's so cool they included this, or wow, this little Easter egg that really doesn't help you in the game, but they give you kind of this little, execute order, whatever it was, like those kind of little moments. 66, thank you. They give you those little moments where you get to see and hear a little more of Star Wars stuff.
And you can also say the same about Control, is like they had nothing to go. They had nothing to go off of.
There's tons of recordings and really interesting stuff.
Yes. Little readings and
no,
stuff
they
like
had
that.
really cool stuff. All the videos.
The reason it tips the scales for me because it's Star Wars. That's all I was trying to say. It's because I love Star Wars. That's why I felt more delight. Whereas Control, I felt a little bit depressed because the whole thing's pretty.
Well, and let me just make a contest about Control maybe being number 2 instead of Star Wars. Is that there was this moment in this game, and excuse me, this is spoilers, but like I was reading about something and I was like, ooh, that sounds really creepy and really weird. And the very next room I went into, that something was in that room.
Yeah.
And like having that type of world building, like I explored enough to find that piece of paper to read this thing to prep me for this thing I was about to walk into. So I had some form of context, but it was still something that maybe not a lot of people even got to see or whatever. And Control is normally filled with stuff like that. Oh man, you have to Control is only half the game if like you don't read everything. Yeah. So and I think that like finding those memos and those little videos and stuff like that kind of create this like really interesting, elaborate world that like oh man, I really hope we get more of, but like it's sold like crap, so who knows?
Well, you got the big major expansion coming out this spring, so you'll get something.
True. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Really, these 3 being top 3 are just like we're splitting hairs. You know what I mean? So
Derek, you're a big fan of Days Gone. Do you feel like that one deserves mega props for its open world, or that it's just really the only kind of traditional open world game we're considering here? I guess that and Division 2 are kind of more traditional open worlds, right?
I thought Days Gone had like a beautiful world, like because it's set in Oregon, it's in the Northwest United States, and it's a really pretty area. I don't really care about exploration with this game, and I don't think it should be docked for that, but I can't say it's like the best open world. So I do think it needs to be on this list. I
think it's a really solid open world though.
Yes,
like,
I think it should be like a 5 or a 6, maybe a 7 at worst, but I don't think it's top 3 or 4 or anything like that.
Okay. What do we think about Judgment? And describe that open world and exploration to me.
So Judgment is not unlike like Grand Theft Auto or anything like that. You have a map. You have a map that has like an A or a G or whatever, an icon that you have to walk to that initiates some sort of like side quest or regular
Is
quest.
it
Or anything like
populated
that.
and interesting with stuff to see as you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So like
Okay.
depending on like what's going on in that particular act or chapter, like different things are going to be going on in the city. I think every chapter breathes new life into like this small little. It's small but deep. Like there's a lot of like Jeff was saying, you can go into almost any building. There's basements, there's top levels, and everything like that. You go into rooftops a lot in this game, so like that adds a whole other.
Oh, that's
level.
cool. So some verticality to it. That's
Yeah,
kinda neat.
there's a lot of verticality to this game, and
Okay.
and again, like you could play like this is a 20-hour game or it's a 40-hour game.
Got
It
it.
just depends
Yeah.
on how much you want to like dive into those side quests and everything like
Well,
that.
speaking of some verticality, I feel like Sekiro has some verticality to it as well.
I honestly think Sekiro deserves to be over Judgment if we're talking about
Yeah,
like
I think it
talking
does.
about
I was gonna
actual
say
exploration.
of the Souls-like games that I've played, I felt like I enjoyed exploring in Sekiro probably just as much, if not more, than any other ones that I've played. I haven't played all of them, but I've really enjoyed exploring in that one more than a lot of the other ones. But tell me if you think I'm wrong, if I'm off base with this one.
No, I think it's top 5.
Yeah, I really suck at that game, but like just like running around that entire like world and like zip lining around and hook shotting around it feels so good, and I know it rewards you with like boss fights or items or whatever. Like this game is about exploration. Like it's got to be in the top.
Based on what I've heard from Luigi's Mansion 3, I put it behind Luigi's Mansion 3 for the moment, just because I feel like, and I could be totally wrong, the creativity and again that delight factor of Luigi's Mansion seems to me to overshadow the stuff in Sekiro, as cool as
But
it
is-
is.
Is
But-
Freitas the only one that's played Luigi's
No.
Mansion?
No, I played it.
And would you put it ahead of Sekiro?
Yeah,
For-
Jeff,
for-
tell us.
Sakura? Yes, I would.
Sekiro.
I also
Oh.
haven't played.
The guy
Those are
who
fighting
loves
words.
Dark Souls games so much. Yeah.
I haven't played Sekiro, so I mean, that's
That's
not
Oh,
really
you
fair.
didn't play it? You don't like Dark Souls stuff at all?
No.
I mean, I don't care. Like,
don't care.
legit,
Yeah,
I
some
don't
of us
care.
like to enjoy games, Derek. We don't like to just
Okay, all right.
Like, so obviously,
I'm one of those
So
guys.
then why
that's
are you playing Death Stranding?
Oh, easy option.
Oh, all right.
Okay, all right. Daniel Freitas, what were you gonna say?
well, so like open world and exploration, like you can explore an open world, but I can kind of like look at those two things almost separately sometimes. Because like obviously Luigi's Mansion 3 is completely different from like Outer Worlds,
Yeah.
because Outer Worlds is like a more concentrated, smaller, Fallout or Skyrim or whatever.
Areas, right?
Yeah.
Same as Star
Um,
Wars.
But like Luigi's Mansion, you have to explore. You're exploring every nook and cranny with that vacuum in order to progress to the next room, to find the key to open that door to the next room, to get to the boss, and so on and so forth. Like it's very creative, and again, that's what the puzzles are kind of stemming from, is from the exploration.
Okay.
So like it's all like interweaving with each other, the puzzle and the exploration. So
Okay, all right.
yeah.
So thinking of these three that seem to have, and correct me if I'm wrong, these seem to have similar open worlds, kind of more traditional. That'd be Judgment, Days Gone, and The Division 2. They seem to have a little bit more traditional open worlds where you have sections of a larger area like a city, but it's all fairly seamless, give or take. What do you guys think is the best of those three? Right now I've got it ordered Judgment based on Kyle's description there, then Days Gone, going off of what Derek said and what I've played of it, and then The Division 2 after that.
I would rate the Days Gone higher than.
I was gonna say that too.
Days Gone over
I
Judgment.
I would
agree
as
with
well.
what
Yeah,
Kyle said.
Judgment,
but
you
Days
can
Gone
keep-
is yeah.
Judgment you can kind of bring down a little bit. I mean, like while it's like a really cool place to like explore, it's very generic. You're still
it.
just going to a letter A or a letter whatever. There's not a
Okay.
lot to it. So
Okay. And I think I barely got here in time to make sure Division 2 didn't get kicked out. So I'm not fighting for it to go any higher. Right now it's at 9. So that's fine with me. And I put Zelda at the bottom. But hey, listen, this is not a knock against Link's Awakening. It's mainly just because I've been playing that game since 1990, whatever year it came out in the Game Boy. The old green and gray version, right? That's what I first played.
ooh, before the color dungeon. Wow.
Oh yeah. Before the this is the original business here. Four
spoiled now.
AA batteries that I was
Wait, so
churning
you
through.
had to
God.
pause the game and switch like items before you actually went ahead?
Yeah, man.
Because there's only two.
Yeah, man, 2 buttons.
You and me
That was
both,
rough.
Sam.
2 buttons. This is a big upgrade from our Atari 2600, which had 1 button. Anyway,
Like, this actually turned the game from me not liking it a lot to like playing this, and I'm like, oh, I actually love this game now.
No, Link's
Like,
Awakening
I
is
agree.
great. And I think because they added a few elements that I wouldn't say are necessarily open world or exploration related, but there's some secrets. But this game had some really awesome. It was a very basic like trade up type system. So that was kind of interesting. They have a lot of secrets, a lot of like hidden walls you can bomb. If you hit your sword against the wall, you can see if it's bombable, even if there's no cracks in it. All that kind of stuff. Lots of secrets, tons of exploration. Zelda games always do this. But like someone mentioned earlier, it just doesn't do it as well as other Zeldas, even though it is really well done. And so I do think it deserves to be on the list, but 10 is fine. So
it's a product of its time.
I think the Division.
It's a wonderful remake, though. It's one of the best like ways to completely remake a game scene for scene, but add those quality of life things to really like make it stand out.
So if we put
Days Gone a top 5, or are we gonna leave it in the bottom 5?
Well, do you think it's above Sekiro or below it?
Well, what's above Sekiro?
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Well, I'm saying like all of them. I know the
Yeah, so we've got Outer Worlds at 1, Star Wars at 2, Control at 3. Those seems to be pretty consensus. Fantastic.
Well, I would swap Control, but that's just my opinion.
Oh, would you? Let's take a vote on that real quick. Derek, which one's higher, Star Wars or Control for exploration?
Control, easily.
Control. Jeff?
I like it the way it is.
Star Wars first.
Star Wars,
Kyle?
yeah.
Control for me.
Freitas?
Right, Control, number 2.
Phillips?
Star Wars number 2.
Ooh.
Where we're at.
All right.
Then Tim, you're the deciding vote. What?
I'm Star Wars over Control.
So it's 3-3.
It stays where it is then.
No, I'm the more
corporate shill. You're a corporate shill. What did Disney pay you, Tim? What did Disney pay you?
Exactly. Yeah, he's all over name brand and new IP.
Not enough.
Not enough. That's for
You
sure.
hate innovation. Whatever.
This is why new games are not made, Tim.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm part of the problem.
NPD in 4 months.
I'm part of the problem. Okay, all right.
You are the problem.
All right. So then after that comes Death Stranding, which even having not played it, I enjoy making fun of it just because I know people that love it, people that hate it, really hate it, and I just don't care. So I think it's fun to kind of jump in the middle and cause problems. But Death Stranding, I think there was a pretty good case made for this one being very unique in its approach and the whole communal aspect. I mean, it does sound all very fascinating when it comes to the exploration specifically and how the open world functions. Fair at number 4? Is that too high?
I think
that's fair.
I will settle for 4.
It's a settling thing for me as well. But yeah.
So wait, you guys would normally put that above Control?
I would probably put it at number 2.
Above Control?
I would put it above Control and Star Wars. Yeah.
But not Outer Worlds. You would put Outer Worlds above it.
Yeah, Outer Worlds is like true open world game to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Agreed with Kyle.
Oh.
But I mean,
we're
it's
2 against
4
4
is good.
Yeah.
4 is good.
4 is totally great. I can't believe we're even talking about this right now. So
Yeah.
Listen, you need an alpha male to fight for you guys. I'll do it. My little beta cubs. Do you want me to fight for you? Death Stranding 2, let's do
Let
it.
me tag in, Derek.
No, we're not doing it.
No.
Wow.
And then we got Luigi's Mansion 3, but the problem there is that we've only had 2 folks who have played it, yes?
Yeah.
I own it. I haven't bothered.
For those of you who have played it, would you say it has a better sense of exploration and open world as Sekiro, Days Gone, and all these that are below it?
I mean, I wish I could speak to Sekiro, but yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3 I would definitely put above Days Gone.
It's very much part of its DNA. So.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
fine with it. I mean,
I am too.
I really like it. I guarantee if I played it, I wouldn't be like, this is stupid.
No, I'm excited to play it. Yeah.
I
might fire it up tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, and
you
then
guys will really like it. I'm pretty certain of that.
the only one that we really still have a question about, I think, before we can settle this thing is Judgment and Division 2. Do we like that placement of those 2?
I prefer the Division 2 above Judgment. I think
I haven't played Judgment.
I'm not gonna fight. I know no one but Jeff has played Judgment, so
and Derek.
Division 2 over.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't play Judgment, but I'd put Division 2 over it, I guess.
I'm not gonna fight that.
Okay. We'll do that last little switcheroo here. So our final list for best open world and exploration. Speak now or forever hold your peace before I'm done with the list. Number 1 is Outer Worlds, followed by Star Wars Jedi The Fallen Order, Control. I know that's debated. Maybe those are tied for second. I don't know. Then Death Stranding, Luigi's Mansion 3, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, Days Gone, The Division 2, Judgment, and The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. There you go.
And then Outer Wilds.
Yeah,
And Outer Wilds. Honorable mention.
Which is better, The Outer Wilds or No Man's Sky?
Oh, No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Now, No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
No Man's
It's like
Sky
a real
is
game now. Yeah.
I think that tells us all we need to know.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things here.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?